It's a clear pasuk in the Torah.
Okay. To be chosen.
Hashem tells Moshe at the burning bush, if you know which pasuk I'm referring to, before he tells them why you're taking the children out of Israel, he says because it's a chosen people. It's a pasuk in the Torah.
Okay. So it's interesting that the idea of being Israel has nothing to do with flesh and blood. If being Israel is saying Nasiv and Ishma and actually accepting the Torah in your life, for sure, from that perspective, you've chosen to be chosen.
Hey man, it's a fact. The Jewish soul is infinitely more valuable than a Gentile's.
All right, now you're trolling. Okay.
No, that's an halacha. You have to redeem a Jew and captive over a Gentile. That's halacha. The Maimonides says it.
A Jew is someone who accepts Torah. From that perspective, every Jew is superior because anyone we classify as a Jew has accepted the Torah. The vast majority of our people, colloquially, are not religious. So you're saying that you could be irreligious and an atheist and still be more special to God than someone who actually submits to God?
About Gaza, what would David and Melech do to Gaza?
Oh my gosh, Israel again is special because they keep Torah. That means if anyone from the age group converted to Judaism tomorrow, they would be considered Israel. So when you say we're the chosen people or Israel's are the chosen people, we're a people united by belief and practice. That means if you happen to have a Jewish mother and you don't keep Torah, you're not special and you're not in a covenant with God. You're not in the bris. So it's playing with words. Yes, Jews are special, but what is a Jew? According to the Torah,
not keeping the commandments, a Gentile is not punished for not keeping the commandments. A Jew will be.
A Jew is not punished for not keeping the commandments if he does it b'shogeg. If he doesn't know what he's doing, he's also not punished. Only if he does it b'mezid. If he knows what he's doing intentionally, that's how he's punished.
Yosef Mizrahi said because of YouTube we're all b'mezid.
Oh, now you're quoting Yosef Mizrahi.
Because of YouTube we're all b'mezid.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Because we have to choose ignorance.
So then you acknowledge that both a Gentile and a Jewish person who doesn't know, right, because of their lack of knowledge, both of them are not liable, right? They're not punished. There's no onish for them violating the Torah, right?
They really don't know, but what's the 13 principles of faith? The first 13 principles of faith is reward and punishment.
Reward and punishment on people who know what they're actually doing. This is what the Rambam says, that in order for there to be an actual punishment, you have to partake in the actual avoda.
Now you know.
Oh, right. Okay. So if somebody converts, by the way, or comes to the realization that Torah is true, the Rambam writes in the first parak, like a Hilchos Mamrim, that he's also bound to keep the Torah. That's how God validates you. If you acknowledge the Torah is true, you're going to tell someone to break Shabbos?
A Gentile to convert is because I wouldn't want him to be punished and have the same obligation that a Jew has. It's a very harsh obligation.
So why do you do kiru?
To Jews, Gentiles that do the 7 Noahide laws.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That by doing kiru to someone who happens to be Jewish, you're making him chayiv when he wasn't. So you're doing the exact same thing. A Jew who didn't know you had to keep Shabbos would have got a pass. But now that you taught him that you have to keep Shabbos, then what it is, it's a form of lifnei iver both ways. So you're saying that it's okay to do lifnei iver, put a stumbling block before the blind to someone who has a Jewish mother, but not someone who doesn't have a Jewish mother. The reason you think that is because you think it's a chus to be a yid. It's a benefit to bring someone to Torah.
But you're doing the same thing to the Gentiles by converting them to Judaism. You're doing the same thing.
You're agreeing that Jews do the same thing to Jews who would otherwise not be liable for punishment. Now you're making them liable for punishment. So I see
Judaism as a good thing. I see Torah as the Torah of light and life. I don't see it as a bad thing.
But it's not a good thing for Gentiles to embrace then.
They're not obligated.
A secular Jew is also not obligated because he doesn't know these laws exist till you.
I agree. A secular Jew is obligated.
Okay. Yeah. So now you're changing the whole thing. The notion of HRAH.
Every Jew is obligated to keep the Torah.
Can you explain what HRAH is?
What's that word?
HRAH. HRAH is that before a Jew gets punished for anything, first he has to be warned.
Oh, warning. Right? Okay.
Correct. He has to be warned, meaning that before there was a warning, he wouldn't have been liable. So it's a Gentile, by the way. A Gentile who lives in the land of Israel, who identifies with Torah, which is the vast majority of Gentiles who watch my show, once they're instructed correctly, the idea that they could claim to worship the God of Israel and worship him incorrectly, that would make them liable in God's eyes. There's no Sanhedrin nowadays. No one is getting punished for anything. But the idea that you're separating the world between Jew and Gentile instead of between Torah keeper and non-Torah keeper, that's what makes you a bigot.
That's not true.
Come on, bro.
That's
I mean, I
mainstream.
do this long
That's
enough.
mainstream. You're the chiddush. You're the novelty, Usher. You know that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're definitely a novelty.
All right. So then, if the Gemara tells you, right, it says in Pesachim Pei Zayin that the reason we're in Gullus is to do what? To acquire converts. I mean, that's what it says. According to Chazal, there's more sources to reach out to Gentiles than it is to Makarev fry Jews, right? I mean, can you give me one source that shows that Chazal, the rabbis in the Talmud, ever reached out to unaffiliated Jews?
Yeah, but that story in Brachas where it says, don't pray that the sinner dies, but pray that his sins go away.
A Jew who sins is still a Jew. That's another statement by Chazal. I'm talking about an atheistical individual, someone who doesn't believe in God, that you say still takes preference.
Menashe, it says that he did tshuva before he died. Yishmael did tshuva before he died.
We believe in tshuva. We're talking about kiru, shlichut, right? You feel obligated to reach out to unaffiliated Jews, and I love the idea, okay? But you're saying that if you do it to a Gentile, then it's wrong. Show me a source where the rabbis did it with unaffiliated Jews and not to Gentiles. There's more sources in the Talmud that we have an obligation to bring Gentiles close than ever to reach out to people who walked away. We have Tochacha, we have Musar, and we have HRAH, right? Tochacha is rebuke. We rebuke Jews who are religious, who are straying away to give them chizuk. Musar is the same thing, okay? Kiru doesn't exist by Chazal.
What did Ezra do? What did Ezra do when he came back to build the temple? He told all the Jews living in Israel to do tshuva.
Because they were no. He told them to divorce their wives.
Even worse.
Right? Because they didn't want to convert. The reason that they were even listening to him is because they weren't atheists. The idea that
you asked for a source. I just gave you a very powerful source.
That's not a source. That's okay. Chizuk is going to a Jew who's weak in his faith, like similar to the Baal Shem Tov, and making their faith stronger. That's not what kiruv is. That's not what shlichus is. Kiruv is going to a college campus, right? Going up to an atheist Jew and saying, even though you don't even believe in God, you're special because of the soul within you. That's completely different than getting a Jew who's sinning to stop sinning. Okay, it's not the same thing. They acknowledge that if you belong to a different religion, i.e. atheism, they would sit shiva for you. They wouldn't consider you part of their people. I just had a discussion with my friend Reuven, who's extremely intelligent, but still continues to say that atheist Jews are his brothers. Where the heck in the Torah and the Talmud did it ever say that a Jew who doesn't believe in God is your brother? A mumar lechachis? That means like an atheistical Jewish person who's mad with God, it calls him kegoy, kekuti, that he's equivalent to a Gentile on the same level, like a Gentile who doesn't believe in God. If a Gentile believes in God, he's superior to an atheistical Jew. So I don't know how you really think that you have a case here. Is this the first time we talk?
You don't remember? I came on here a few times.
This is the first time you've challenged me.
No, I usually go along with your whatever.
Yeah, I get it. It seems like a chiddush, 100%. The reason it seems like a chiddush is because most people don't do it. That doesn't mean that it's wrong. I mean, kiruv is the biggest chiddush of them all. And I think it's a great idea. Reaching out to secular Jews, I think, is a great idea. However, when you start to think that even Rabbi Akiva would have reached out to a secular Jew, that is the main chiddush, right? That's what's new.
And what story are you talking about?
No, there's no story in the Talmud that it gives atheists preference whether they have a Jewish mother or not. That's Kabbalah, because Kabbalah invented the idea of a Jewish soul. It said that what makes you special is not keeping mitzvahs, right? Hashem says that you will be my special people, right? My Am Segula, only if you keep mitzvot. No, Chabad will say a Jew is a Jew is a Jew because of the soul within you.